Must press record. Um, okay. Well, it's not Friday, the 5th of June, 2020 episode. Well, it is episode 74, but it's 10 to 10 in the night. We're having to do this evening to satisfy the morning demand because we're busy at 8 o'clock, aren't we, Dawn?
Yes, that's right. Oh, no, I'll be busy. You'll be taking Oscar for a walk.
Yeah. We're having a dishwasher replaced. And so we've got to give the kitchen up to somebody, and that's it's going to be a bit embarrassing us doing this in the background with anyone. He think we've gone completely bonkers, won't he?
Yeah, it's because we're in two separate rooms and we're talking to ourselves via Zoom, and we live together, so I think we're nuts.
So yeah, the light. I don't know if it's good for us or bad for us. We're both a bit more tired than we would be, and we're not as inspired. But we'll give it a go.
If we're alert enough to answer the silly questions we have.
And even while we speak, Hubert Bunce from Canada is messaging and giving feedback. So it's really that today. I won't post this to the morning though. I really upset the music contest. But we've got a rollover, and I've never succeeded to go to a 2-day rollover. So I'm surprised nobody's got this, to be honest, especially some of a certain age. Angie Crush, a bit younger than me. But anyway, here we go. A little bit more than we had when we played it Thursday morning. Got to be careful with this. Okay. I've also managed to do a catchphrase, but it was got by Angie, wasn't it? Oh, I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah,
Pause for thought.
Pause for thought.
Yeah, well done. It was Angie who got it, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Angie who got it.
Yeah. She's on fire. Sorry.
This would lead on very nicely to the one thing that it's not that I admire about you that frustrates me, and that's the fact that you cannot remember hardly anything. Apart from, I have to say, any world record that has been in athletics, you'll rattle off the top of your head, where I just sort of like sit there and think, where the hell has he dug that up? He can't remember his name for 2 days in a row, let alone that. So that is the thing that's the worst thing about you, is the fact you've got no memory, and then it's the best thing about you or I admire, because you actually remember things that I couldn't even begin to fathom out.
Yeah, it's a weird old thing, the brain, isn't it?
Well, yours is, yeah, peculiar.
Well, is that it? Is that you doing the thing that most impressive?
Yeah.
Remember
That's the least impressive and the most impressive. How about that?
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm made up with that or not, to be honest. But let's go on to the.
You're not supposed to be made up about it.
Let's go on to today's catchphrase, or the one for Friday. Oscar's been in action. He ain't got a clue what I'm up to most of the time, of course. So here we go. See if anyone can get today's catchphrase. Here it comes. Right.
Yeah, one of my brilliant ideas.
He's not impressed.
No, he's not. He thinks I'm mad as well, doesn't he?
Sort of bordering on it.
So good feedback coming in on the. We were trying to decide what identified a true friend.
Oh, I know. It is open to interpretation. I think people have made some very good points, that it is about whether you respect somebody and what they're saying, etc. Being supportive, being there in times of dire need as well as the good times. So,
You have to see them, do you think?
pardon?
You have to see them regularly?
No, I don't think you need to see them regularly. I mean, I think you tend to sort of like pick up where you true friends will just pick up from where they've left off, sort of thing, and just start strike up a conversation, and ask you questions, and then before you know it, you're laughing, and you're quite happy and content. Whereas I think people who are just acquaintance, you're sort of more wary of what you're saying, and you're not quite as relaxed. A true friends, I think you are yourself, your true self,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's the difference, I think.
Yeah, good one there. Yeah. Graham Saker talked about mutual respect. He values that in any friendship, which is a good
Uh,
point. Alan Buckle picked up on what you said, that old people he hasn't seen for 30 years are still friends. So I think people agree with that. Alan came up with what I thought was an ingenious one. It's a real test of a friendship. If you break down on the motorway and late at night and it's pouring with rain, who do you phone to come and help you?
yeah.
Yeah, I volunteered you. So well, you would do. You get straight in the car and off you go.
I
You
know. I
You,
have done it before, haven't I, as
you
well?
wouldn't even ask which junction he was on. You'd just be off, or even what motorway he was on.
I would do. Hold on a sec. If I was off rescuing someone on the fence, I would ask questions where they were. I mean, I'm not that stupid, honestly.
Grazia agreed with Graham about the mutual respect aspect, and I thought a good one she came up with. Friends are happy for you when you do well. There's no like resentment or grit,
No.
smiling through gritted teeth or anything like that.
I think it is true that if you're a true friend, you're happy when they're happy, and sad when they're sad, and we can't obviously do it at the moment, but you quite when they're down, you comfort them, sy- you sympathise with the situation that they find themselves in, and that's because you can relate to them as a person. I think that's important as well.
That's what Grazia said. Support them when things don't go well.
Mm, very much so.
And again, she came up with the starting up again after a long gap. So, yeah, all good. We better have a look, just see what. I bet Hubert's typing at night, because don't forget, folks, he's a few hours behind us, and yeah, he was talking about the long gap, and knowing somebody he met when 1972. He went to school in England for 2 months, and he met somebody 11,
Uh,
and then he became his friend, and using social media stayed in touch 45 years later, and we have since visited with each other and get on excellently. Amazing.
uh,
45 years.
I think that I have a story where I had a friend who I used to play in the summer. We used to go to the school, a senior school, and just play tennis. And I was very close to her. We were at each other's houses, etc. Close friend during a couple of summers, etc. I moved away. She came to my wedding back in 1981, and I met up with her I suppose about 15 years after that. And of course, I think as you grow up, it's a bit difficult to sort of like, I hadn't seen her for 15 years. The last time I'd seen her was at my wedding, and it was almost like talking to a stranger. And we didn't click like the same way, because her life had gone in one direction and my life had gone in another. I always talked very relaxed and easygoing, but she had much more difficult life, and I felt that as a friend she hadn't felt that she could tell me, and it wasn't until 15 years later. And I do think that sometimes people don't want to be a burden or something, and it is difficult to pick up the threads if something that you feel you could have maybe been there for that person and you weren't, because you didn't know about the situation.
Yeah.
And that's more difficult, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I do think though that I thought of it. A friend is someone who knows the worst things about you, but still gets on with it. Yeah, and that deep, eh? Yeah,
I think that's that's almost true in like a marriage, isn't it? In the sense of that, I mean, your friends to start with, because you must like the person to fall in love, and then it's about. I mean, I like spend a weekend away, etc., and I'm not really comfortable until I come back because you're around and it's got all the things that you're familiar with, and that's part and parcel of a friendship, isn't it, really?
yeah. So what's this comment by Hubert? Dawn, your viewers want to know what and everything else means in a relationship to your friendship with Mark.
Hubert, you're getting very personal here.
Well, I want to know.
I mean, if you don't know, no one else does. Oh dear.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. He also says, I think friendship is obviously a very broad term, which has further been corrupted by Mr. Zuckerberg. He's the bloke responsible for Facebook.
Yeah.
Which most people will see it on. So, yeah, I know. But somebody got very upset talking to me today. Didn't get upset with me, but it came out that they're talking about friends, people who have blank them on Facebook and stuff like that, and get quite worked up about it. But that could be any reason for that. Could
That was Scott, wasn't it?
be oh, Scott. Yeah, it was Scott. Yeah, Scott. Yeah, that's right.
I think at the end of the day, I think it is what I said. That if you say the wrong word and they, they take offence at what you've said. I mean, a sentence can have different meanings, and I do think that's what we go back to this same old thing, don't we? That social media is so stark in the way it comes across, and sometimes it's not meant in that way. So maybe a question should have been asked before you start blanking people, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Close the pubs anyway. Let's get Steve Fury going. Close all the pubs now.
I had a good chat with Steve for about an hour today. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Why is he not working?
Well, he is. He's working from home.
Right.
He listened to Rob Dixon. You know who Rob Dixon is? Did a webinar with Rob Dixon, and then he spoke to me.
He's some coach or another, or somebody.
I know Rob Dixon, New Zealand icon. Olympic bronze medalist in the 1500 metres. He did a question and answer thing today.
Exactly. Folks, you do not know what I have to put up with. He rattles this all off from the top of his head, no notes required. And yet, if I say to him, I've told you about that at least twice now, he said, well, you didn't tell me. And so at the end of the day, frustration sets in.
Well, I just got to tell everybody, one of my hobbies now is watching the video back, because I look at the feedback and I watch the video back without any sound on, just watching your face as I'm talking, and it's a picture. So
it's sort of, I probably.
It's much better than listening to it. Just watch it back with the sound music.
People, what do you think I'm thinking?
Yeah. A little bit more, but we've done about 20 minutes. So thank you very much, Dawn, for doing a second episode.
Okay.
On Thursday for release of one on Friday. So.
Okay. See you then. Bye.
I'm down now. Yeah. Cheerio.